Hello, room 5. Story time. And today we are going to read a book about space. And I chose this book because during one of our Zoom meetings, Aaron showed the teachers a picture of outer space. So I said, I have a book about outer space. My little book of space. Oh, let's go back. We skipped a page. My Little Book of Space by Peter Grego. Look at the astronaut. I wonder if that's a boy or a girl in there, because both boys and girls can be astronauts. This is called our contents page. And you only see this special page in books that are nonfiction or books that tell us facts. So the book we're reading today is telling us facts about the solar system or about space. So some of the books we read are fiction, meaning they're pretend. But the book we are reading today is not pretend. It's telling us real things about space. Solar system. The solar system is made up of the sun and all the objects that circle or orbit around it. These include the planets and their moons. The sun is a bright star at the center of the solar system. So the sun, my friends, is a star. There are 8 planets in the solar system, including Earth. Earth is where we live. Thousands of rocks or asteroids and millions of icy chunks known as comets also travel around the sun. So these are the planets in our solar system: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Look how big Saturn is. Uranus and Neptune. The sun. The sun is a ball of hot, bright, burning gas. It is the nearest star to Earth. The planets circle or orbit the sun. So all of the planets go around the sun like Ring Around the Rosie. The sun is so big that 1,000,000 Earths could fit inside it. You should never look straight at the sun. It is so bright that it could damage your eyes. The sun provides Earth with light and warmth. Mercury. Mercury is the planet nearest to the sun. It is the smallest planet in the solar system. So there's Earth, Mercury, and the moon. Mercury is only a little bigger than Earth's moon. Mercury is covered with craters. These were made by meteorites and asteroids hitting the planet. So look, here's one of the craters that's on Mercury, and it looks like a smiley face. And if you can look closely, you can see that a crater is kind of like a hole. Venus. Venus is the second planet from the sun. It is the hottest planet in the solar system. Venus is about the same size as Earth. So there's Venus and there's Earth. Venus can often be seen as a bright point of light after sunset or before sunrise. So there's the sun and there's Venus. It looks like a little light. Venus is surrounded by thick clouds of poisonous gas. Beneath these, the rocky planet is covered with high mountains and deep valleys. Earth. This is where we live. Earth is the 3rd planet from the sun. It is the only planet where we know life exists. Earth is hot on the inside, but cool on the surface. Earth is a rocky planet covered by dry land, deep oceans, and frozen ice caps. It is surrounded by a layer of air called the atmosphere. It says Earth's atmosphere wraps around the planet like a thin blanket. The moon. The moon is a rocky ball about a quarter of the Earth's size. It circles the Earth once every 28 days. There is no weather on the moon. It is never cloudy or wet there. There's the Earth, and there's the moon. We can only see the part of the moon that reflects the sun's light. As the moon circles Earth, it looks like it is changing shape. The shapes are called phases. So here, the moon looks like it is shaped like a crescent. Mars. Mars is a rocky red planet about half the size of Earth. It is the 4th planet from the sun. Mars has lots of volcanoes. One of them, Olympus Mons, is the biggest volcano in the solar system. Mars is red because of rusty iron in its soil. Check out that robot. It says several robots known as Mars rovers have been sent to explore Mars. Long ago, Mars was warm and wet and had lakes and rivers. There may once have been life there. Today, the only water on Mars is frozen in its ice caps or frozen deep underground. Jupiter. Jupiter is the 5th planet from the sun and the biggest planet in the solar system. Jupiter has more than 63 moons. Look, there are some of its moons. Jupiter is a gas giant with no solid surface. Its swirling bands of cloud and many storms make it a very colorful planet. Isn't that cool? And look, you see this giant red spot here? It says the Great Red Spot is a huge storm in Jupiter's atmosphere. Saturn. Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun. It is surrounded by wide rings and has more than 60 moons. Its biggest moon is called Titan. Wow, can you believe that? It has more than 60 moons. Titan is covered with lakes, rivers, and seas. These are made of liquid methane, not water. Saturn is a gas giant with a small rocky core. This huge planet takes 30 years to travel around the sun. And it said that Saturn's rings are made from millions of lumps of ice. Wow, that's cool. Look, there are Saturn's rings. Uranus. Uranus is the 7th planet from the sun. It takes Uranus 84 years to travel once around the sun. Uranus has 27 moons. Most of them are made of ice and rock. There are some of Uranus's moons. Uranus is a gas giant 4 times bigger than Earth. It is so far away and faint that it was only discovered in 1781. That was a long time ago. And this says Uranus's moon, Miranda, is covered with craters, grooves, and cliffs. Neptune. Look how cool Neptune looks. Neptune is the farthest planet from the sun. It takes Neptune 165 years to travel around the sun. Streaky white clouds appear bright against the planet's blue color. The huge dark area is a storm in Neptune's atmosphere. Neptune is a gas giant nearly 4 times the size of the Earth. It has the strongest winds in the solar system. Sometimes dark storms or clouds appear on Neptune. Dwarf planets, so that means tiny planets. The dwarf planets are smaller than the main planets. Most of them are made of ice. Pluto was once called a planet, but it was renamed a dwarf planet in 2006. And look, these are 4 dwarf planets right here. Comets. Comets are city-sized chunks of ice and dirt. They move around the sun following egg-shaped paths. As comets approach the sun, they start to melt and give off gas and dust. Glowing in the sunlight, the gas and dust make long, bright tails. So pretty. Asteroids. Asteroids are a lump of rock that orbit the sun. Sometimes they hit planets and make craters. There are thousands of asteroids in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The biggest are the size of a small country. Others are smaller than a football field. Meteorites. Meteorites are lumps of rock or iron that have fallen to Earth. Shooting stars or meteors are bright trails of light in the night sky. As lumps of rock fall to the Earth, they heat up the atmosphere. They can be seen as bright meteors or shooting stars that fly across the sky. Stars. A star is a large ball of hot burning gas. Stars shine by burning gas to make heat and light. Our sun is the nearest star to the Earth. Other stars are so far away that they look like tiny dots of light and can only be seen at night. Stars come in different colors and sizes. Life of a star. Like people, stars are born, grow old, and die. Stars can live for billions of years. Stars are born inside huge clouds of dust and gas. As they grow older, they get bigger. Like people, that's pretty cool. Most stars fade and cool when they run out of gas, but the biggest stars explode in a supernova. Look at all these beautiful, beautiful newborn stars. Constellations. Constellations are groups of stars that make patterns in the sky. So this pattern of stars is called the northern hemisphere. And this pattern of stars is called the southern hemisphere. There are 88 constellations in the sky. Most of them are named after characters, creatures, and objects from ancient legends. Galaxies. A galaxy is a massive group of stars, gas, and dust moving through space. Most galaxies are so far away that they can only be seen through a telescope. Look at the galaxy. There are hundreds of billions of galaxies in the universe. They come in many shapes and sizes. Some belong to big groups of galaxies called clusters. The Milky Way. The Milky Way is the galaxy we live in. It is a flattened spiral shape. The sun is located on one of the Milky Way's spiral arms. So look, there's the Milky Way. And the Milky Way is made up of hundreds of billions of stars. The universe. The universe contains everything you can think of, from your home to the farthest, faintest galaxies in space. Gas, dust, and planets make up the parts of the universe that we can see. Stargazing. To look at the stars, find a dark place away from bright city lights. You can see some amazing sights from your backyard. Looking through binoculars, you will see star colors more easily. Binoculars can also reveal details on the moon's surface. I wonder if you have binoculars at home that you can stargaze with. Telescopes. Telescopes make distant objects appear closer. Astronomers use them to study space. Some telescopes use lenses and mirrors to collect light and make an image. Others can see energy that is invisible to the eye, such as radio waves and X-rays. Do you have a telescope? Rockets. Oh, look at that. The first rocket to reach space was the German V-2 rocket in 1942. Rockets are used to launch spacecraft from Earth's surface through the atmosphere and into space. Satellites. Satellites orbit planets or stars. Some are natural, such as moons. Others are machines launched to orbit space. Thousands of man-made satellites orbit Earth. Look at the satellite. Astronauts. People who have been into space are called astronauts. Only a few hundred people have ever been in space. In space, there is no gravity, the force that keeps you on the ground, so everything floats around. This makes simple tasks like washing your hair very difficult. So look, astronauts, they float in space because there's no gravity. The first men on the moon. On July 20th, 1969, a spacecraft with 3 people on board touched down on the moon for the first time. Buzz Aldrin, shown here, and Neil Armstrong were the first men to walk on the moon? I think that would be really cool to walk on the moon. What do you think? International Space Station. The International Space Station is a science lab and observatory in orbit around Earth. The International Space Station was built in parts and taken up piece by astronauts from many different countries. A crew of astronauts spends months at a time working there. And this is the very last page, which is called the glossary. And the glossary gives us all the definitions of all the words that we learned in the book. And this is the index. And this tells us where we can find certain things in the book. And that's it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed the book. Oh, wait, look at this. These are some questions on the back of the book. Why do we use rockets? What is a satellite? What is our galaxy called? Do you remember? How do robots help us explore space? Who was the first person to walk on the moon? Do you remember? And how big is the sun? Hope you guys enjoyed the book.